the last time. We will be meeting regularly. Why? Because I personally think that whenever there is any legislation done in the university, it should start from the bottom. We are actually following exactly the same mechanism that the National Parliament follows for legislation. There is a committee which proposes a draft, then it's taken to the cabinet, and then it comes to the National Assembly. So think of this gathering as a National Assembly. And we discussed it in our meeting with the HODs and deans day before yesterday. And I think the meeting went on for a good 5 hours. And the rationale behind why we need to have teaching hours. Our essential job, excuse me, our essential job is to teach. We are all teachers. Any other responsibility assigned to us, including me, does not change my substantive appointment. I am a teacher. And for 3 years or X number of years, if I become an HOD or a dean or a vice chancellor, that does not change my essential identity, which is that of a teacher. I will be teaching a course in the Department of English from the coming semester, and I'll do it every semester. And I've requested Dr. Khattak, he's here, and Madam Sania, to somehow adjust me in the timetable if they're okay with it. And I will be teaching the first class, which means if it's at 8 o'clock, I will be in the class at 8 o'clock. If the class starts at 8:30, I will be in the class at 8:30. I will be marking the attendance, I will be marking the papers, I'll be marking the assignments, I'll be preparing the result, and I will work under the chair of the Department of English as a teacher. Why I'm doing that is because we need to understand how perhaps, no matter what responsibility we have, we are essentially teachers. And so if there is any instruction that the HOD Department of English gives to other teachers, those instructions will apply to me too. So if she says I should submit the result within 1 week, I will be submitting it within 1 week. Of course, there is a certain time frame that is given to all teachers. And if there is a tendency to be submitted to the department office, I'll be doing that too. Now, why am I doing that? Why I'm doing that is because my perception is that in most universities, there is this sensitivity about how so-and-so is a Flana Khan or so-and-so is a Flana Khan ya Khanam. And I personally don't agree with that. If I'm a VC, I am a VC. If I'm a dean, I am a dean. If I'm an HOD, I am an HOD. I don't have to rub it off people's noses. These titles are used for facilitating first students and then faculty. In the first conversation that I had perhaps in this room or in this hall with some of my colleagues was that we need to understand the essential paradigm of universities. Universities are open for students. And to be able to teach those students, there is a need to hire teachers. To be able to facilitate teachers and students, there is a need to have non-teaching people in the university. So for us, we need to keep this in mind. The most important are students, then the teachers, then somewhere in the distance, we non-teaching colleagues of yours come. बदकिस्मती से ये हमने उलट कर लिया है कि मैनेजमेंट जो है वो जैसे वायसराय की तरह बिहेव करता है। I don't, मैं तो उसका कायल हूँ। इसी वजह से ये पहली लेजिस्लेशन है जो हम करने जा रहे हैं और हम आपके पास आए हैं। भी जैसे और यूनिवर्सिटीज में, कुछ यूनिवर्सिटीज में, तकरीबन सब में इस तरह होता है कि बाकी टीचर्स को पता भी नहीं होता है और एक कानून बनता जा रहा है और फिर one good day there is a notification issued कि जी ये कानून बन गया है। I personally don't agree with that. क्यों? इसलिए कि if the teachers or the non-teaching colleagues that we have in at university are not part of the policy making process, they feel disempowered, they feel disenfranchised, and they don't feel motivated to implement those rules, regulations, statutes, whatever they are. So that is my main idea behind coming to you. And I thank Nasir and the rest of the members of the committee for taking this responsibility. Because my hunch is that most universities have started moving in that direction where there is some sort of a minimum teaching, there are minimum teaching hours for all teachers. In some universities where governments ask them to have it, then they went to a level where it becomes physically very difficult for teachers to do the teaching and then correct the papers and prepare the result within the time that we have for marking papers, for preparing result. Like between 2 semesters, we have 2 weeks. For midterm, we have 1 week to prepare the result. Do we do it? Do we not do it? I hope we do it. If we do not do it, I think we should start thinking about that. Because before the students register for the next semester, they should know the result of their previous semester. That is one reason. Another reason is when I joined and I became your colleague on the 15th of October, the process for hiring teachers on, what we in University of Swabi call fixed pay mechanism or fixed pay basis or fixed basis. The process was already completed, except for a couple of signatures that have to be put to those papers, and then the semester was about to start, and so I have to go ahead with that, believing, and the staff who actually takes care of the paperwork saying in writing that the process has been followed. So I said, okay. The office order that was issued to each one of you, do we have colleagues who are on fixed pay mechanism? Okay. The office orders that were issued, I think clearly said that they will be teaching X number of hours. That's the office order that were issued. And then we requested the departments to send us the teaching workload or teaching load or teaching hours of all teachers in those departments. And it's really very interesting to see that perhaps more than 90% or 95% of teachers whom we hire on fixed pay basis, they are not teaching more than 2 courses or 3 courses. I'm saying 90 to 95%, so if there is somebody who is non-teaching more, maybe you're one of those 5% people or 10% people. Because the data that we received, signed by all the respective HODs that lies in my office on the desk, and I was looking at it, which then creates this anomaly of how the university says somebody whom the university hires to teach 12 hours is actually teaching 6 hours, or is teaching 9 hours. So should we, well, what should we do? Should we think of it as some sort of a disobedience? Of course not. Should we think of it as, as an opportunity to deduct some salary from those who are on a fixed pay basis? No, not at all, because the idea is not to, pinch you economically. The idea is to make sure that we make maximum use of the human resource available on which the university spends, let me tell you, 8.7 or 8.8 million rupees per month on the lecturers whom we hire on fixed basis. So that is the second reason. It's like, can we reduce this amount? Or how do we reduce it? Do we fire people? No. What do we do? We're going to start regularizing, or we're going to start the process of regularizing teachers. The focus will be on those departments where there's not a single regular teacher. Why? Because if there are students and the department is accepting its full capacity students, and we don't have a single permanent teacher or regular teacher in that department, that's an anomaly. So, to cut the long story short, why the committee proposed, and to tell you the truth, it seems to have skipped part of the conversation that took place with the HODs and the deans. I was going for lesson numbers, that's what I it should be, it was less than, I'm not going to tell you just so, but it was slightly different than what the committee originally proposed. Why? After you guys have made a decision, perhaps I'll tell you to share the principle. So, why we are doing it is because we need to have some sort of a standard mechanism that all of us follow in every department. One thing that I'm going to propose to the bodies that will be looking at it, that we should not, call a course, like for example, professor teaches one course. So we shouldn't say it will be a 3 credit hour course, because pharmacy department has an annual system. And I think my understanding is that every class, if I teach in the pharmacy department, every class is 50 minutes. Is it like that?
Yes, 1 hour.
1 hour. And I teach it 5 days a week, right? So 5 घंटे में हफ्ते में पढ़ा रहा हूँ एक कोर्स pharmacy का, ठीक है ना? ये 3 घंटे का credit hours ये चीज हम मेरा ख्याल है कि हम निकालेंगे, या फिर हम pharmacy के लिए अलग वो बनाएंगे, क्योंकि फिर वहाँ पे teaching hours का mechanism disturb होगा. So अगर if you look at it this way, then we expect our professors to teach 1 course a semester. We expect our associate professors to teach 2 courses a semester. We expect our assistant professors to teach 3 courses a semester. And we expect our lecturers to teach 4 courses a semester. Okay, just a little bit of a personal example. I should not be giving it. Before I came here, I was the dean of a faculty in the University of Peshawar, and I was teaching 4 courses every semester. It's documented. Those of you who do not believe it, you can ask the department or you can ask the university. They can give you the names of the courses that I was teaching. And in fact, before I came here to take over, we had the MPhil program going on, and our HOD Sahab, Dr. Hamid Salim, was really very worried. Chose the look, if I committed to teach a course in the MPhil, I will teach it. That one you can verify. How will you do it? As I teach on Saturday. So I had committed to 3 courses to teach. The 4th one was to be decided later. This was before I came here. I didn't even know that this would happen, that I would come here. So there were 2 courses that I was going to teach to MPhil, to 2 different semesters, 2 different classes, 2 different classes actually. And there was 1 BS course that I was going to teach. I was, taught a BS course. And the 4th one was going to be decided after we knew about one of our colleagues in terms of whether she will be with us or will not be with us. So it's done in writing. So it's like I was going to teach 2 classes on Saturday and 1 class on Friday. And the Friday class was supposed to be from 3 to 6. And I would tell them, it's like, okay, I'll try to come from Swabi on Friday, whatever. And all this is done in consultation with students. Why I'm saying this to you is because sometimes we think that teaching 4 courses per semester is a lot. Yeah, a lot is a very relative word. If I have never taught, even teaching 1 course is a lot. If I've taught 1, teaching 2 is a lot. If I've taught 3, teaching 4 is a lot. But if I've taught 4, and I did, 4 is not a lot. So before the committee started making its recommendations, I think I had 2 consultative meetings with Nasir Jamal Khattak. Whatever I said, now you're curious. He'll tell you, I'll tell you too some other time. Now is not the time. So, those of you who perhaps think that for lecturers 4 is a lot, maybe there are some who think like that. If I say I don't agree with it, it's not because I don't agree with it because I happen to be your colleague and who is a professor. No, it's not because of that. I have a totally different, logical reason. I think it's a logical reason. Well, you can call it illogical too, which is fine. It's a free country. Lecturers are young. They have more energy. 1. Most of the times, most lecturers are single, which is wonderful. Yes. وهذا كل شيء كده أهلنا باي. نرتاح ولا لقى كوكب उर्दू की मतलब है ये दिल्ली के लड्डू जो खाए वो भी पछता है जो ना खाए वो भी पछता है बाद कड़ी चीज़ अगला ख्याल है द सिंगल चीज़ ना बाद कड़ी दर्द खुश किस्मत है और ना बाद कड़ी चीज़ अगले वही चेहरा ना बाद कड़ी चीज़ दर्द खुश किस्मत है What those of you who are बाद कड़ी you know I don't have to comment on it. And those of you who are not, wait. You'll find out, So, if you look at lecturers, most of them are single. Maybe they're not, I'm just assuming. Which means, in addition to having more energy, they have lesser social responsibilities. Not all of them, most of them. And so they have more time. And think of it this way. I'm not trying to convince you, though I'm trying to persuade you, that preparing 4 courses or preparing yourself for 4 courses can hopefully also give you an opportunity to prepare for seeking some sort of academic fellowship outside Pakistan for PhD. I have been a Fulbrighter. I have been part of their board. The first letter that I wrote for one of my colleagues in the University of Swabi was for Dr. Mukarram Shah. He applied for the postdoc. Those of you who believe they should apply for Fulbright, pre-doctoral or postdoctoral, we will talk, and I might write a letter of reference for you. So think of it that way. And I'm going to put an end to this, conversation here, and then we're going to open it for discussion. Feel free, whatever you say, at least I'll be smiling to you. And even if, I'm sure you will say it in the most polite possible way, but if you scream at us, at me, I shouldn't say us, if you scream at me, I still have hope that I'll be able to muster a smile, and I will say, okay. But if you're in the business of teaching, I think we need to understand that it's not just a job that I'm doing for the salary that I get every day, but that I'm in the business of changing lives, building people's careers, and those who are in the business of changing lives and building people's careers, they ought to have a very, 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 very big heart. And which is why I say that I will smile to you. So, If you are okay with all this, you can, say that. I'm going to go down, and if you have questions, if you have suggestions, if you think it's less, that's nice. You can say, no, 4 is less, let's teach 5. Trust me, I'll say, da compreste, da khabarone, you never, अगरीब बीमार सिस्टम के शेयर no और कोशिश करो like rapasing चाहते थे यार हलवा होता है कि वे दे खबरें तो वक्त शेयर no kachaki the courses yeah the खबरें तो वक्त शेयर. So if you think it's a lot, think about it, and let's discuss it, and then we will take it to the academic council, and we will inform the academic council with the pride and the conviction the academic council will be okay with it too, especially after we tell them that we discussed it with everybody on this day. Thank you very much, and God bless you. Bye-bye.